like you've mentioned, many organizations have workplace bullying. Yeah. And all those policies are in place. However, if the CEO does not model, then if their behavior, if leadership, their behavior is modeling something else, then that policy is just paper. Yeah.
Reduce productivity, zero morale, obviously. Someone is always going to take time off work. Every now and then, I need time off work. Let's really understand what are the financial consequences, because people don't tie this to the money. If Alice is not okay, as a result of a few individuals, it's affecting your bottom line.
Absolutely. And then coming from a space where before that happened, I was the one people were coming to for money. I was the one who was funding everything. Then all of a sudden, at least Njambi, you can't even feed your own family. You can't feed yourself. You can't parent. And I was just struggling. I didn't know. I felt ashamed. I was like, you're not supposed to be here.
Hi, my name is Vivian Boaz, and welcome back to another episode of the EHS Unplugged podcast. Now, in this episode, we're going to be exploring what bullying is, what harassment is, and we're going to answer the question, is this actually a workplace hazard? Or maybe not? We'll find out from our guest. But before we do that, let's do some public announcements. We're having the OSH quiz night in June. Please come, don't miss. Last year was amazing. So it's happening June 26th at Kalamata Restaurant. That's in Lavington. The event takes place from 7 to 11 p.m. So after work, you can just drop by and have a good time with fellow professionals. We're going to have the regulator in the building, Kenyan employers, employees, and of course, OSH professionals. So please join us. The other thing is, if you love this kind of content, please don't forget to subscribe to our EHS Unplugged podcast platform on YouTube. Turn on notifications and please share with your friends and loved ones. It's spreading the gospel. But let's find out. Let's introduce our guest so that we can get going with this episode. Karibu sana.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My name is Alice Njambi. I'm a psychosocial risk strategist and a workplace well-being strategist as well. And what I do, I help organizations see early signals of strain, respond effectively, and sustain healthier systems for both people and performance. And I'm very excited to be here. Looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you, Alice. Thank you for agreeing to do this with us. I want to ask a question that you're not expecting is, how long have you been doing this for? And did you always want to practice what you're practicing today?
Wow. Okay, I didn't see that coming. I have been doing this since 2020. I didn't choose it. Let me say it chose me. Yeah, it chose me because I started this as a result of my own experiences. COVID happened, then I found myself at my lowest point. And to the point that I was actually even struggling with suicidal ideation. That's when I started realizing, oh my goodness, we've been talking about mental health. I've heard about it even, like possibly 30 years ago when I was just a kid. But this is a big thing. Like I never expected for myself, given what I knew, where I was and all those things, I didn't expect to be at that space. And anyway, no one ever expects to get into unwanted situations. Let me put it that way. And I remember that's when it hit me like, oh my goodness, mental health is such a big deal. We don't talk about it enough. That was back in 2020. It hit me at that point that, you know what, it actually affects the way we think, feel, and act. And unfortunately for most people, and this is just individuals, we haven't even gotten to the workplace yet. Back then, we used to take it. I used to take it. Let me speak for myself. I had taken it so lightly. That was the light bulb moment. That's when I started realizing, Alice Njambi, all these things, how you handle, how you think, how you behave, your thought processes. This is not just about this moment. This actually affects your whole life, yeah? And then I started looking at the conversations, the people around me online, and I realized this thing is big. And from there, my pain turned into purpose and my mess turned into a message. I got into that space. That's how I got into the mental health space. So this for me is passion. It is purpose. It is mission. It is it is everything combined into one thing. Why? Because first of all, it's very personal, because I have experienced what it means not to be in a good space mentally, yeah, not to have good mental health. I know what it means to be in that space. I know what effects it has. Now, starting from an individual, and I know what that looks like in the workplace. So I picked it up, and my God, I love it. I've been doing this since 2020 and just been growing in that space.
Give me a high five. Also, me, I'm happy you're here with us today. It's 2026. It means it's a big deal because, anyway, I want to ask you a question, and please feel free not to answer or respond to it. When you were in that space, when you talked about suicide ideation, how did you get out of that mental state or state of mind?
Wow.
Did you receive any kind of support?
At that point, I wasn't sharing with anyone. Why? Because I was filled with shame. It was that thing of first, let me just mention what I was struggling with. I was still, how do I put this? I was broke. COVID happened. I was running a media agency. Then you remember
Media.
Yes, I was in the media space. Yeah, I was running an advertising agency. And you remember when COVID happened, the last thing people wanted to put their money on was advertising or anything that was not, we want to just the last thing people wanted to do. You remember people were just holding on to, because we didn't know what
We were barely
COVID,
surviving.
exactly. We didn't know what COVID would bring. So what happened? We had this line of clients. Then everyone says, let's put everything on hold. Let's see what happens. Then on top of that, I was also struggling with healing, emotional healing, because I was just coming from, a divorce. And let me tell you, there's nothing as bad as being broke and broken. What it does to your mental health is, oh my goodness, I cannot even put it in words. So at that point then coming from a space where before that happened, I was the one people were coming to for money. I was the one who was funding everything. Then all of a sudden, at least Njambi, you can't even feed your own family. You can't feed yourself. You can't parent. And I was just struggling. I didn't know. I felt ashamed. I was like, you're not supposed to be here. That's what I was saying earlier. It's funny how we think these things happen to other people, but we rarely think, oh my goodness, it can also happen to me as an individual. Yeah. So at that point, I was just thinking, I was feeling hopeless. I was feeling useless, worthless, to the point now I was thinking, okay, my life is over. Like, what am I doing? I might as well make an exit. And now to answer your question, I remember thinking, and I thank God because that didn't even come from me. I remember thinking, Alice Njambi, what if your life is not over? What if your life is not over? That one question, yeah, it just changed the way I was thinking. I was like, okay, what if that life that you knew, what you knew, that season is over? So if your life is not over, what do you want? How would it look like? Where do you want to go? Who do you want in your space? And for me, it changed everything, because I started now, instead of looking outwards, yeah. So I'm not getting support. My marriage broke. Sina pesa, sina. Instead of looking at all the things that I did not have, I started looking inwards. So what do I want? What do I want as an individual? How did I even get here? What role did I play? What do I want my life to look like? Yeah. what does that ask of me as an individual? So I started my journey into self-awareness, emotional management, regulation, understanding, the impact of emotions. Because, if you're in that space and you're feeling useless and you're feeling worthless and you're struggling with shame, believe you me, you will not walk outside, feeling confident, yeah? And that's when I started understanding, oh my goodness, this thing did not just happen to you in isolation, yeah? There's so many other people who are struggling with mental health challenges, but we don't talk about them. Why? Because of fear of stigmatization, fear of shame, fear of people will think I am weak. And that was just me in the individual space. Now imagine now how we are the same people who bring the same to the workplace.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh. Still very happy you're here, that you came through on the other side. So let me, today I want to talk about bullying. And I've also been a victim of bullying. For me, I'm not okay talking about it because I think I haven't dealt with it. But when I experienced that, it got me thinking, we as a country, we don't know what bullying is. We don't even realize it's happening. Sometimes I feel bullying is so subtle. Sometimes it can be so obvious too. But then we also don't know how to detect who the bully is and who is a victim, or who is likely to be bullied, whether it's in the workplace or it's in the home. We are not there as a country just yet. So as, of course, an expert here in this field or in this area, what exactly is bullying?
Super. Before I even start, let me just honor you. You've mentioned it's not an easy conversation, yeah? So even you leading this conversation, yeah, it's a big deal, and I honor you for that. And I agree with you. Many of us tend to confuse bullying with interpersonal conflict, yeah? Like many of us think that conflict, the interpersonal conflict, or with maybe even term bullying as personality clashes, yeah? This is just a thing that is going on between two people at work, which ends up actually minimizing. Like you said, it's because of the lack of awareness, and I'm really looking forward to unpicking that, in this conversation. So when we look at bullying is not the same as conflict. Those are two different things. When we look at, when we are talking of conflict, we are talking about two people who share like equally or relatively equal power, and conflict is normal. Conflict can be easily resolved. But when we are talking about bullying, we are talking about repeated and unreasonable behavior that is directed either towards an individual or a group of people. Key here being repeated and unwanted behavior, with the aim of either eroding someone's self-confidence, trying to control them, or trying to even push them out of work and isolating them, so it can be something, someone is pushing you, trying to control you, or they even want to push you out, or they want it to affect your work performance. So bullying and conflict, absolutely not the same thing. So when you're talking about bullying, the things that we need to have in mind are three things. Number one, repeated, underline, repeated, The reason I'm emphasizing on that because perhaps you could have, I can have my boss coming in and yelling at us, So one incident, it could be maybe they were having a bad day. But now, if that is what is usually the pattern at work, the boss comes in and maybe, and I've been in that space where we used to be
scared,
screamed at, hurled at insults, and not once, like it was a pattern. So the things that you look at when it comes to bullying, it has to be repeated, repeated. So there's actually a pattern. It's not isolated incidents. So repeated, then we're talking about the impact, So the impact is, it's degrading, it's humiliating, it is harmful. And then the other thing that is very important is the dynamics, yeah? Because most of the time when we're talking about bullying, there's usually a power imbalance. Then perhaps maybe just to add, I like calling it the bullying cousin. That's harassment, yeah? Harassment is not the same as bullying. When we're talking about harassment, we're talking about unwanted behavior that is offensive to a reasonable person. And most of the time, it's linked to protected characteristics, yeah, such as age, gender, religion, ethnicity, race. So when you're talking about harassment, what we need to have in mind is harassment does not need to be repeated, unlike bullying, yeah? A single severe incident can actually constitute harassment. Top of mind, I'm thinking sexual harassment. But bullying is slightly different. It has to be, there's repeated and unreasonable behavior. Yeah.
So are there types of bullying? Because I know mine was over, on WhatsApp, where I would come and you find 500 messages targeting one individual. So are there types? So someone might be going through it or actually doing it without knowing. This is, maybe it could be verbal, there's social. What are the types that are there?
Yeah, you've mentioned what you've mentioned is digital. That's digital harassment. I mean, digital bullying, yeah? Then there's verbal, what I was talking about, yelling, shouting. There's the social, where now perhaps I'm new in my workplace and people decide, you know what, she's a threat and we are going to isolate her from meetings. We perhaps they even go ahead, they form groups on WhatsApp, key groups that have not been added. The whole idea is socially isolate her. Yeah. Then we have now very subtle, the psychological intimidation, where you cannot, and these are actually the most dangerous ones, yeah? Where someone is bullied and then they're told, you know what, just get a thicker skin,
Oh, yeah. I know that one.
Like, we are a fast-paced culture, just, so you're being given, perhaps you're being overloaded with work, but the person is actually hiding behind performance. Yeah.
That just reminded me. I think this is therapy for me. Where so I was going through it, in the thick of it, and then so I called a friend of mine, and just because I thought, the first feeling, this is my friend, so you're likely to understand better than these outsiders. And then the friend says, I've been loving the conversation, and I'm like, no, what they're doing is not right. That is bullying. That's what it looks like. So for them, they did not even realize I was being bullied. They were enjoying the conversation and they were laughing about it, which was okay because, again, where we're coming from is we don't know what bullying is.
Yeah.
But to imagine this is your safe space, this is where you go to and cry and say, this is happening. Could you at least help me stop it? And then that's the kind of feedback you get. So anyway, that just reminded me of what I went through. So what are the signs of bullying?
Okay. So just adding on to what we are discussing, yeah? So there's the yelling, there's the shouting, there's humiliation, intimidation. Then we have now the dangerous signs where you have someone who there's withholding of information, withholding of opportunities, strategic silence, emotional unpredictability. You have a boss, they were chatting nicely to your colleague, you enter the office and wow, the person has just changed, and the whole idea is they want to intimidate you, humiliate you. There are spaces where you can find maybe an employee, someone has made a mistake, but they have been, it's a small mistake, but it has been made so huge with the whole idea of discrediting the person, yeah? You can, there are also instances where maybe someone has, instead of their work being credited to them, the work is being credited to someone else. Yeah, there's belittling, someone is being belittled, and then there's the person who's doing that, the bully is hiding it behind humor. Then he's like, "Kwani hujui jokes?" Like, why are you using me as the butt of your jokes? Yeah.
There's the hujui jokes, grow thicker skin. You're in this space where this is going to happen more often.
Exactly.
So you need to be able to.
That's how things are around here.
And someone told me, this is Kenya. This is Kenyan politics. And we see it on the big stage. Yeah. This is Kenyan politics. This is what's going to happen. But it's so wrong.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Yeah, so, just because it's happening does not mean it is right. And I'm glad you're having this conversation.
I know, I feel like crying. But so take me for example. If this happens to me and then I'm taking all this into the workplace, it's already becoming a workplace hazard.
Absolutely.
But Kenyan workplaces at the moment, not a majority, are not assessing this risk.
Exactly.
If am I right to say it's becoming a workplace hazard?
Not it's becoming. It is, yeah. And I totally get where you're coming from. And it's something that, and I'm loving that we're having this conversation because we are creating awareness. In fact, two things. We have normalized bullying because we do not even know. We came and found out in this workplace, this is how things are done. Yeah. I mean, leaders came and even them, they were intimidated, they were harassed. I mean, burnout in that place is normalized. So they don't even know like what is right from wrong, yeah? You've mentioned you go home, you watch your TV, you're watching online, social media. Our leaders, our Kenyan leaders in politics are doing the same. Then another thing that you've mentioned that I think is so important, yeah? We've normalized mental health challenges as personal issues.
Yes.
So why are you bringing your issues to work, yeah? Like when I mentioned what I was going through as an individual in my personal life, yeah? But still remember, I'm a whole human. And you cannot tell me to bring half of myself to work, yeah? So the whole idea is we are looking at mental health issues from a system perspective, yeah? The whole idea is to move from reactive. Oh, this has happened at work. Oh, my goodness. Okay, let's have a counseling session. Let's put up awareness posters. Let's have a wellness conversation. EAPs will cover that. Systems are coming from a place of they're reactive. But we are moving it from a reactive to proactive. Yeah. Let's have systems that already know Alice is coming with issues. What can the system do not to make those issues worse? Yeah. And now when we are connecting this to bullying is not just about behaviors. Bullying is not just about he was mean, she was mean to us. Yeah. It's the environment that actually fuels that bullying. I like saying bullying is a smoke. The environment actually is the fire, yeah? So instead of chasing the smoke, fix the system. And the system here being maybe poor leadership, low trust, lack of supportive systems. Like you said, you want to report, you don't even know whether you'll be believed. Yeah. Someone doesn't understand, they're laughing at it. So fix the system.
I think I'm going to cry. I need some tissue.
Let me say that again. I honor you for having this conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know how many people have gone through this and they thought, maybe it was just me? We are saying it is a psychosocial hazard. It's not about it being a personal issue. Yeah. I can imagine how many other people are going through this. It's one of the most misunderstood. Like if even the bullies, if they understood the kind of impact they have, I think the workplace would change. And I'm glad you're having this conversation. Okay, kuna mtu ako hapa na bully watu na ajui. I'm just thinking, the person who made you go through all that, akiulizwa, unaweza kapata? Maybe they were just simtete. Like, perhaps, okay, maybe they knew, or perhaps others do not know. I'm loving this conversation because someone will watch and say, okay, so when I am being mean, humiliating, and so this is the kind of impact I have. Yeah.
I mean, plus I've been raised to be a very strong woman. I mean, I was thinking about some of the projects I lead and some of the very difficult situations I usually find myself in. And I was like, I'm immune. This cannot happen to me. And when it was happening, I was so sure, this is, it's gonna pass. And I was on a project in Mombasa. And it was a wild day for safety, funny thing. We were all talking about psychosocial safety. And I missed on so many. My client was looking for me. I didn't even know I had a deadline I was supposed to meet on that day. I couldn't sleep. Like I had this severe headache and I knew something was wrong. But for some reason, I wasn't tying it back to the bullying that was
because you had minimized it.
Yes. And again, I think people don't know what the symptoms look like when you're being bullied. We don't know what the symptoms are so that we're able to manage them, even at the individual level. So maybe forget my crying and let's just focus on this conversation. I'm going to try. Let's talk about what the symptoms are for the person who's being bullied. What do you need to look out for? Because for me, by the time I realized these are the symptoms, it was already too late. I'd missed out on a deadline. I wasn't able to even be productive in Mombasa. I remember coming back and feeling so guilty. But it wasn't my fault. But it's just that I wasn't able to pick on time. This is happening and this is the consequence.
Okay. And wow, let's talk about let's talk about the early signs, yeah? How can you tell? And this now ties to mental health challenges and distress, yeah? And they're actually four different dimensions, yeah? Let's start with the mental one. So someone can be forgetful. So I don't know that you've ever seen or had or, saw someone or I've been in that space. I'm looking for my car keys, like I'm holding them, but I am looking for them.
Or with my phone all the time.
Or someone is being asked something, they cannot remember. Yeah. So difficulty concentrating, physical signs. All of a sudden, when you think of going to work, panic.
Yeah.
Constant anxiety, insomnia. Like back issues, headaches, stomach issues.
Yeah, that one. Oof. From nowhere, you have this severe stomach pain.
Yep.
I used to think this is probably my periods. And then you go check your calendar. No, it's not due yet. We have like so many more days.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
No. It's part of the conversation. I've remembered there's a time because before I got into psychosocial risk management, because this has been for me a very progressive journey. Starting from my own journey, I came from self-awareness, emotional intelligence, then mental health in the workplace, then now psychosocial risk management. And I remember there's a time I was coaching an executive leader and they had taken off, yeah? They had taken leave, which is also signs of the behavioral signs, yeah? You don't want to be in the workplace. So absenteeism was part of the risks, yeah, of what we are talking about. So she had taken sick leave. And I remember we were having this conversation on a Friday and she was supposed to report on Monday. And over that weekend, the same thing, she develops stomach issues, ulcers, she can't sleep. And that's when I had to have that conversation with her and told her, you know what, this is not healthy for you. Yes, you need the money, but if this is what is happening, just because you're thinking I need to be at work and I'm going to face this person on Monday, and this is how bad it is, then this is really big, yeah? Back to what we were saying earlier. Bullying is not about that person is mean to me. We should look at bullying as exposure to risk, yeah? Exposure to psychologically unsafe condition, which is a workplace safety risk, yeah? The other signs that we should also look out for, behavioral, yeah? So someone was speaking up in meetings all of a sudden. Yeah. Zoom, they used to be the first one, their cameras on, all of a sudden, When they ask, do you have anything to add? Nothing to say, yeah? They used to maybe sit with people over lunchtime. They've isolated themselves. They do not want to be a part of that space, yeah? Then emotional signs, yeah? So it could be increased irritability. 1 minute, also the emotional, I don't want to call it imbalance, but that emotional upheavals,
Yeah.
1 minute you're happy, the next minute you see that person coming in and yeah, it could be that. So there are very many signs, yeah? And all those signs, but they are very common signs of mental health challenges. And I think I'll keep on going back to what we are mentioning, that we think those are things that happen to other people. Until we now have
it can never be.
Yes. Until we start thinking, okay, oh my goodness. Okay, when we start introspecting, I've actually been here. And as we're having this conversation, and I'm urging your audience, to just introspect not only where have I been bullied, but where have I unconsciously been the bully. Yeah.
Or been a bystander.
Yes.
Watched it happen and did nothing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So something you said at the beginning is there are also things that people do that is actually not bullying. And I remember you referenced management or leaders. Sometimes you're given constructive feedback. It's feedback that's supposed to objectively help you either in the workplace or on whatever you are doing collectively. So what are those things that people actually do that it's actually not bullying? We might think it's bullying, but it's not.
Okay, that's a good question.
Because I feel like there's so much confusion around bullying. Number one, we don't know when we're doing it or when it's happening. We could be a bystander also thinking it's not happening, but it's actually happening. But then there are those cases where someone is actually genuinely just actually trying to help, but you take it as bullying when it's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good question. So I'll answer it 2 ways, yeah? Okay. The first one is when leaders actually do bullying without actually being intentional, yeah? So it's what? Impact versus intent, yeah? So the intent is, I want to push Vivian because I can see she has so much,
yes.
But how I might be doing it, yeah? Like, for example, stretch goals, yeah? I want to give you targets. Stretch goals they're absolutely normal. However, humiliation, public humiliation, shaming, if I'm overworking you and I'm not giving you the support, that's not normal, yeah? So even as leaders, yeah, if I am giving someone feedback, but instead of giving constructive feedback, yeah, instead of giving constructive feedback is I am actually shaming this person, I am humiliating this person, then it goes back to for me to ask myself, yeah, what is the impact? Because my intentions might be, yes, I want us to hit targets, but are we hitting targets and I'm breaking people at the same time? Yeah. So that's for leaders, yeah. Then if I was now on the other end, it's self-awareness and emotional regulation. And I love that when we are talking about hazards, yeah, even as we are mentioning this being a prerogative or a responsibility and for the organization, even employees have the responsibility to take care of their own mental health. They have the responsibility to understand themselves, yeah, self-awareness. They have the responsibility to emotionally regulate themselves, to grow themselves and all that, yeah. So I would be asking myself, would any other person find this to be unreasonable? Yeah. And that is for me to understand, okay, so as an individual, yeah, so how am I picking this? And if, say, perhaps I found it to be offensive to me, it's for me now to have that conversation, to pick it up with my boss. Yesterday there was this thing and you said, what did you mean? Yeah. Because perhaps I could have taken it that you meant it badly, but like you're saying, it was not that. So it's for me to understand, okay, when I have that conversation, I can be able to gauge and say, perhaps I am bringing what? I am bringing baggage from my former workplace.
Yeah.
The same way we bring baggage from our relationships into current. Yeah. So back to self-awareness and emotional regulation. But I want to emphasize, I want to emphasize on the system. I'm really avoiding for us thinking or bringing this conversation into personal, because a lot of people are struggling with this because they're thinking maybe it's just me. Yeah.
So, I mean, sorry, we've seen, both of us, we know how destructive this is. Do you think do we have any existing laws, regulations in place to protect the individual in the home and also in the workplace as a country?
Absolutely, yes. The laws are there. Let's start with even our constitution. Yeah. Article 41 talks about the right to fair labor practices. Yeah. When it comes to employment, we have the Mental Health Act 2022. We have the Employment Act 2007 and OSHA. Yeah, the Employment Act outlines the duty of care for the employer. The OSHA Act 2007, the same thing. It actually gives the framework. For the organization, for the employer, in terms of safety, welfare, and the health of the worker. So yes, the laws are there. But here's the thing. Many people who are bullied do not understand their rights. That's the thing.
So in your opinion, do you think that's why, number one, we allow bullying to happen, even when we know it's happening? So we allow it to happen. We don't report. I know we'll discuss this. I know people don't report for various reasons. But are we not reporting because we think legally we are not protected?
We are not reporting because, first of all, we don't even know we should be reporting. We don't even know what stipulates bullying. We have normalized it. I came into this workplace. I found, everyone is okay. At least I'm the only one who's thinking, this is how things are done here. Then I'm told, even danakuanga, we've normalized it. In so many workspaces, we have adapted. The systems are adapted to and geared towards hierarchy, control, and pressure. We don't talk about psychological safety. So many employees don't even know what nini. What is that? What animal are you talking about? Yeah. So it's the lack of awareness. Then the fear. What if I talk about it and there's retaliation? What if I talk about it and there are layoffs? Na jina yangu ndio itakuwa ya first kwa list. What if there's the fear of not being believed? There's the fear of career sabotage. Yeah. There's the fear of, I can be in a workplace where I have actually seen people who've reported and there were consequences. They were punished for reporting. Why would I report? I love saying this to my clients, that silence in the workplace does not mean agreement. Neither does it mean, that does not always mean agreement, Neither does it always mean alignment. Sometimes silence is risk assessment. Sometimes silence is a survival strategy. Yeah.
I'm really glad you've mentioned the Employment Act. That's a document I personally love because, and in most of my social media reels that I do to educate people, I really focus on people having contracts. So, and I go back to that document a lot. One of the things it mentions is on having a policy around bullying, harassment.
Yes.
So legally, as a workplace, you're required to have these documents in place. So now I'm wondering, is it that, do they have them? And is it an implementation gap? Or is it
Such a good question.
Because I'm wondering, where's the problem? Because the law already, this is what you're supposed to do as a workplace. It's very clear.
Yeah.
Forget employees not reading. But the workplace, this is what you want to do. The law is here. This is what you're doing. This is what you're implementing. These are the outcomes, and we can easily track it.
Yeah.
So, what's the problem here?
That is such a good question because, like you've mentioned, like in the Employment Act, it explicitly states that for organizations that have more than 20 employees, they have to have a sexual harassment policy. Like you've mentioned, many organizations have workplace bullying, and all those policies are in place. However, if the CEO does not model, then if their behavior, if leadership, their behavior is modeling something else, then that policy is just paper. Yeah. If you have policies, but the culture is very different, then that policy is just for decoration. Yeah, it's just a paper. Yeah.
Actually, Alice, you've gotten me thinking. Sorry, this is therapy, as I say, for me. Someone said, I think I read a paper somewhere, it was just an opinion piece, where someone said women are more prone to bullying. And someone said because they report more than men. But the point here is women are more prone to bullying. I wish I could retrieve that opinion piece. But the whole point was alluding to women being weak. We're not able to handle criticism, even when sometimes it's constructive. We look at it as destructive. We're not able to manage our emotions in such environments.
Do you know what has come to mind? One word: gaslighting.
No, but for someone to have sat and thought and said, this is actually worth writing about and publishing.
Gaslighting, a lot of lack of awareness, and if you ask me, ignorance. Yeah. Why? Because the moment you mention, in fact, the moment you actually now single out a protected characteristics, it even moves from bullying to harassment.
Yes.
Because you're actually targeting me because I'm a woman, yeah? Then the moment you mention women are weak, what does that say? Like, even if we're to have this conversation with a man and they already have that, there's nothing that I can be able, like, they've already, what is it called? They're already set. Their beliefs are already set to a certain type of thinking. And what this person will be doing, my conversations, everything, they'll be looking for evidence to actually show that it is true. Then you mentioned that women are emotional, yeah? And I do agree with that. But who said emotional is a bad thing? If you ask me, connecting with your emotion is a superpower. Why? Because we're emotional beings. For you to encourage your employees to be productive, to show up and do their best, you have to connect to them on an emotional level. So it's not about being emotional. It's about learning how to manage your emotions as a person. I love saying this. Managing your emotions is actually a superpower. Yeah.
Really loving this conversation. The other thing is, Alice, remember when we talked about if I'm affected and I'm employed by someone else. So say right now I'm employed by EHS Unplugged podcast. I'm bringing all this negative energy into the workplace. You mentioned there's going to be reduced productivity, zero morale, obviously. Someone is always going to take time off work. Every now and then, I need time off work. Let's really understand, what are the financial consequences? Because people don't tie this to the money. If Alice is not okay, as a result of a few individuals, it's affecting your bottom line.
Absolutely. And looking at some, and this is where organizations actually now start paying attention, when it affects the bottom line. So we are talking about long-term cost, such as a high staff turnover. So you'd find perhaps in one workplace, in one organization, they are spending possibly maybe 2 to 4 million hiring, hiring new employees.
Yes.
Because of the culture in that place, the toxic culture, the work, the bullying that is happening. So it goes back to organizations looking at turnover. You've mentioned absenteeism. Yeah, I've given the example earlier, and you've also given several of someone taking sick leave. Yeah, it's someone taking sick leave because they're thinking, I cannot be in that work space. Yeah, so there's sick leave, there's absenteeism, there's also presenteeism. Yes, I will show up. I am there
Every day.
but mentally, I checked out. I checked out of the organization, but I am physically here. Yeah. So those are some of the lagging indicators. The long-term cost that most organizations don't get to see because they're looking at the short-term results. So there's this: my manager could be bullying me, but hey, I mean, see, targets are met. Yeah, so I see let's just continue. It's the cost of doing business. But now when we look at it as what is the financial cost, what does this cost the organization in terms of finances and in the long-term cost? Yeah, when we talk about even the erosion of culture, and now we turn that into numbers, then organizations start listening.
So what if now there's out there, our audience, so we have a leader who's watched this, heard you talk about the financial cost, and they want to change. They want to do things differently. They want to start investing in employee mental well-being. What are those first steps that they can take?
All right. The first step is do a psychosocial risk audit. Yeah. And the reason why you're doing an audit is because you do not want to, what is not measured, yeah, you cannot action on it, or rather you'll be using guesswork. So do an assessment, yeah, find out what do employees, what's the think about their safety, the leadership culture, the workload. Do an assessment first. Then from there, you'll be able to understand these are the things that are happening. These are the things that are happening in the workplace, and these are now the targeted interventions that we'll come up with. Yeah. And I love that you brought this up, because what happens is most organizations are reactive. Like, wow, what is going on here? Okay, we need a wellness talk. People are looking burnt out. We need a retreat. But if you do all that and they're coming to this, yes, thank you, or pizza on Friday, yeah, or we put a poster. We are having a mental health talk on Monday at 10. But if you do all that and you have not, people are coming to the same broken system, then I mean, it's in vain. So start with a risk audit. Yeah.
And then, so once you've done the audit and then you've identified the gaps, are there any support systems that, employers with a limited budget can start implementing now?
Beautiful. What we actually advise, yeah, is start with very low cost but high impact interventions. That way, the board or management or the organization won't say, let's put this aside first because let's wait until next year so that we can put it in the budget. For example, simple mental health check-in. Yeah, just that it is low cost but very high impact. We have at Conscious Work, we actually have a tool for that. We call it Color Check, yeah? And it's a very simple tool, and it's based on the traffic light. You see the way you, let's say you're walking in town and then you see the traffic light. When you see red, green, amber, like automatically you know what that means.
Yes.
So what if we had the same at the workplace? Where I can be asking, so what color zone are you on today? And green means I'm good to go, I'm managing well. Yellow means I'm a bit strained. Then blue means I'm feeling drained, and red is crisis. When I say I'm on red, it means I need help now. Very low cost. I mean, but what it does in terms of the impact. First, it creates awareness. Starting from that, from the individual, emotional awareness, not just self-awareness, team awareness, because now we're understanding if Alice is on red and I'm speaking with you, then what does Alice need? Because now we'll say, okay, as a team, when someone is on red, how do we support? When someone is on blue, how do we support? Then even for the manager, if you're managing a team, and I mean the whole team is on red, week 1, week 2, I mean you're picking those signals early. So we usually encourage, don't go for say, okay, now we are doing this risk audit, we have to start from the whole risk assessment. No, actually go for low cost but high impact interventions, something that you can actually be able to see the results almost immediately and then build on that. That way you'll never get to say, okay, now we can't do this, we can't help, we can't. Even that feeling of helplessness. Like we just need outrageous amounts, budgets to be able to have, to be able to do something about mental well-being for our employees. No. Low cost, high impact. And the best part is I always say, ask your people. I mean, they're the ones who are in that place. They know what they need. They know what struggles. Let them come up with the solutions. Yeah.
So for the manager, you've mentioned managers a lot. So managers, are there specific skills that they need? Yes, because they can collect the data.
Yeah.
But what do they do with this data once it's collected to, in return, help this employee?
I'm glad you've asked that question, because there's a research I came across and it was saying 70% of managers do not know how to respond to this kind of conversation.
Yes.
So I've come in and let's say maybe someone is emotionally overwhelmed at work. Well, who's the first line of contact? Most of the time, it's usually either a colleague or the manager. But then again, I have never been trained. I do not even know where to start with this conversation. I don't know if what I'll say will make it worse. So there's the first response. We at Conscious, we do mental health first response trainings, and they're very simple, non-clinical, practical skills to equip managers, because they're the front line, they're the first responders, for them to get to understand the early signals that we were talking about. So you have a team member who all of a sudden they're missing meetings, they're not, their performance has gone down. Someone without this knowledge and the skills would just think, what, Vivian is just becoming hard-headed. She's becoming difficult. She's no longer as engaged.
Troubled.
Yes. But it's the lack of knowledge. How do I have this conversation with Vivian in the first place? So those are the skills that you're talking about. And just to add on to that, even the draft code of practice on psychosocial hazard management actually asks for leaders to be trained in PFA. Psychological first aid training. It is very important.
And I know you're having a training on the same.
Yes.
Tell us about that, because I would love to come and I'd love to invite fellow OSH professionals to join.
Karibuni sana. So the training will be on 4th and 5th of June. It's an open house training. It's a 2-day training, and we usually have, oh my God, I'm even lost forward because of the kind of conversations and the impact that we usually have when you're having these trainings. So we train on what we are talking about. So understanding mental health in the workplace, something that we still need to have a lot of conversations. Then apart from understanding, then what are the signs? How do you have this conversation that you're having? Then on top of that, how do we now have this as our workplace mental health system, such that we don't have Vivian's team, they feel very supported, but when it comes to Alice's team, it's like a whole different universe, yet it's the same organization. So that will be on 4th and 5th of June, and Karibuni sana.
So
Then
who
I
is-
should add also
Yeah.
that it's not just a training, because after that we usually have a 3-month integration lab. Yeah. So it's not just, okay, so this is what you do. This is a shikeni kwaherini. No, we're going to work with you because this is a system you're installing. So month 1, month 2, all the way up to month 3.
So I know I've mentioned OSH professionals, but who exactly is your target? Or you don't have, it's for
No.
who's interested?
The managers, OSH professionals, safety champions, cultural champions, and mostly leaders, managers. Because like you said, like we are mentioning, they're actually the front line. Yeah, they're the front line. They're the ones who handle these conversations. So they really, 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 really need this training. Yeah, it's. I don't even look at it as a training. I look at it as a response capability. We're talking about response capability, which is, having the way I look at it, one conversation can actually change someone's, not just their performance and productivity, but literally their life.
Allow me to call it mental health first aid.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is something that it's a skill we now need in the workplace?
Please repeat that again. Because that is huge. Do I think? Absolutely non-negotiable, yeah? Some time back, I was actually in a training on something totally different, emotional intelligence. And I just hear a scuffle at the back. And I turn and someone was having a panic attack right in the middle of that space. And I could literally see the look on everyone's, faces, like, Tufanya, what do we do? What do we do? So do we need this? Like, every time we're having these conversations, our first question is always, if someone had a panic attack, do you have someone who has the skills? The same way we have physical first aiders at work. Do you have people who are trained, to be fast responders or mental health first aiders at work? So do we need this? Absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
Number one, we don't have. But the next question for me is, who are these mental health first aiders? Do we even have them in the country? And if they're there, how many are there? So say we have 100 workplaces reach out to us now through this episode. Where do we go?
Good one. So are they there?
Also,
yes.
What are the charges?
Okay. So are they there? Yes. And are they there? Yes. But there's I think there's that lack of awareness of, do we really need this? And I'm glad we're having this conversation. Do we really need this as a workplace? Like we said earlier, most workplaces are focusing on output, profit. And even the most conscious workplaces who are, people-minded, it's not like they don't want to do it. It's the lack of awareness, yeah? And are there, if we were to have 100 organizations, yes, we're not the only ones who are doing mental health first response or mental health first aid, as you put it, or PFA. There are very many. In terms of costings, we have organizations doing different things. You'll find all the way from 5 Gs to 100 Gs. So, yeah. It's the lack of awareness and understanding. Like you said, from my experience, what I've seen is the connection between this particular training and the bottom line.
Yeah.
So how does this training impact? And then back to mental health awareness, thinking, this is Vivian's issue, it's Analysis' issue, it's a David's issue. Not understanding, actually, this is about... it's an mental health. We need to stop looking at mental health as a wellness pack, but more of an operational workplace safety issue and operational risk. Because if we looked at it that way, then we'd find the budgets. When we talk about risk, any unmanaged risk is a liability. Yes. We'll find the budgets to take care of that. So it's that connection of, like you mentioned, the financial with mental health, with this training, and the lack of awareness.
If I come to you, you're the manager, you're my direct manager, and then I come to you and I say, this is happening. how are you supposed to respond? Just give us an example so that someone understands. How are you supposed to respond so that you don't re-traumatize this person? Because you can very easily, even from the way you look at this person, what you say. So how can someone, respond?
Have trauma-informed conversations. Yeah. So for the first thing that you're mentioning is not retelling that story such that the person is re-experiencing it again. Yeah. So they need training in how to have this kind of conversations. The other thing is confidentiality. So I can't come to you. You can't come to me in confidence, and then I'm using you as an example in our meeting the next morning. Yeah. Then there should also be safe reporting systems such that when you come to me, as I as a manager actually know these are the escalation pathways that we have at work. This is how I am supposed to have this conversation. This is how I'm supposed to record the incident. This is what the policy say, my policy at work, or this is a policy that we need that can help us actually manage these risks at work. So managers need to have a lot of training.
We are bringing them to your event.
Karibuni.
So I think, Alice, as we come to the tail end of this conversation, one thing I want to ask you is, what is a psychosocially safe workplace look like?
Wow. So
I don't want to ask the opposite of that. So what is that one psychosocially good? I'm like, this is it for me. I want to work here.
Okay. So this place looks like people can speak up without fear. They can work without intimidation. They can ask for help. This is a place that has clear expectations. There is accountability, because I have had conversations where people think, okay, now you're telling us to just let employees do whatever they want. No, accountability is necessary. Yeah, humiliation is not. Accountability is necessary. So we have clear expectations. We have accountability. There's balance and recovery. So this is not somewhere where burnout is normalized. We have support systems. So psychological safety and psychosocial safety comes in hand, yeah? Because you'll have people who are thinking of maybe, our people can speak up, but maybe the systems in terms of workload, role ambiguity, control, communication, the organizational management, maybe it's not supportive. So as a healthy one would look like there's a balance. There's both psychosocial safety and there's psychological safety as well. Yeah.
My last question. And
Ask
this is
5 more. I'm enjoying the conversation.
So I came across this reel on TikTok. And this lady said, which maybe it worked for her. So we're not judging. This is a very safe space. So she said, if you're being bullied in the workplace, stay unbothered. And how do you stay unbothered? Go in, do what brought you into that place, do your job, get paid, go back home. Home is your safe space. Don't speak up, because when you do speak up, you lose opportunities. You get sidelined. In your opinion, would you say stay unbothered or please? No.
What that person is saying goes back to the question that you had asked earlier, that we have normalized, we have normalized workplace bullying and harassment such that now employees are thinking, how do we protect ourselves? But at what cost? At what cost to the organization? So I would say that makes sense for the person because they're thinking of protecting themselves. But back to the organization, I would ask organizations, like, why do your own employees have to protect their energy, their health from you, and they're coming to work for you? So it is not the right way to do it. The right way to do it is to fix the systems, so that people feel safe working. Their health, their well-being, their dignity the workplace has boundaries, there's safety in the workplace. So from that reel, what I'm hearing this lady say is, I need to protect myself. So silence for me is a survival strategy. But do we want workplaces where people are surviving or thriving?
Thriving.
Yeah.
You allowed me 5 questions. I just have one more. One more. On a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think we are? Where are we as a country when it comes to psychosocial?
Wow, good question. I would say we are waking up. Yeah. Because these kind of conversations, many years ago, they were not there. So even with the Mental Health Act 2022, with the draft code of practice, there's progress. What is missing? The gap is in practice. Yeah. In enforcement, we need more awareness, we need more governance, and we need more systems that protect people. So yeah, we are making progress, but in terms of practice and enforcement, we have a long way to go.
You have a long way to go.
Yeah.
But at least what I'm taking from your statement, it's very positive.
Yes.
We're doing something.
Yes.
Someone is doing something somewhere.
Yes.
Yes. So Alice, thank you so much for agreeing to do this with us again.
I've had a blast.
Making this my therapy session. I clearly needed that.
So I enjoyed this.
Thank you. On your closing remarks, just a message to the manager out there, to the health and safety professional whose this responsibility is going to fall on their shoulders. To that CEO somewhere, to that startup company, someone who's just in the process of recruiting right now. What can they do to help us on this journey we're on?
Beautiful question. So what I would say I have 2 different messages, yeah? The first one is now for the professionals, HSE. I would say don't look at this work like compliance. So I'm coming to an organization to assess the risk, tick a box, tick a box, tick a box. Think of the people behind what you're ticking. Think about the impact, that these risks have on their lives, not just on performance and productivity. Think about their own, their psychological health and their physical health as well. So don't look at it as, okay, organizations have to comply, so we are coming here, do you have this, do you have this? Think about the person the person behind that, yeah? Then for the managers, I would say, let's stop looking at people. Let's stop putting profit before people. Yeah. Because in many organizations, we have spaces where we have systems where, how do I put this? That value output over humanity. So let's change that. Let's have people in mind, yes, because the people are the ones who are actually. Let's think of sustainability, because if you're just thinking of profit and people are just tools that you're using to make that profit, then you're harming people in the process. So let's bring humanity. In fact, that's the thing. Let's bring humanity back to the workplace. Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's been a very insightful session. I've learned so much. And I've also learned that it's good to talk. Just say what's going on in your head, in your heart. So anyway, workplace bullying, harassment is happening a lot. It might be happening to you and you don't even know that it's happening. But even as a workplace, this person is coming back to your workplace. So it's affecting your bottom line, whether you want to admit it or not. Even though you tell us it's easy for you to rehire, training that person when you hire them, that costs money. And having a person who is hurt and coming to work, they are present, but not fully present. If you're able to collect data and you're able to analyze that data and make it make sense, then you'd see how much your company is losing as a result of workplace bullying and harassment. So I hope you found this episode very useful. And please don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to turn on your notifications. And please don't forget to share, because this information belongs with everyone. So share. Asanteni sana. Bye.